Hi guys, and welcome to my live stream. Um, I'm really excited to do this. This stream is basically going to be my review of the Razer Nabu watch, the Forged Edition, which I've now had for coming up to 2 weeks. And what I wanted to do is I was going to put obviously a review video up anyway on my channel, and then I thought to myself, I may as well try to do it in a live stream, because if anyone does decide to pop in and watch, then they'd be able to ask me any questions at the end of my little review on this watch that, like I said, I've now been wearing every day for 2 weeks. My review is not going to be particularly technical. Obviously, if there's any specific technical questions, I will do my utmost to answer those questions. And obviously, if I can't, I can't. But I'm going to give you my honest opinion as to the value, the build, and really what I think of the watch. And that's basically what a review should be. It should be your opinion of the item and whether it does what it actually advertises itself to do. So what I'm going to do, like I said, is go through that as part of the video, so that part of the review first, and then if there are any questions, I'll be happy to kind of answer those as we go along. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is obviously the watch itself in terms of its functionality. It's done a great job for me overall. Like I said, it's been 2 weeks of everyday use, and it's a watch, and it's not really that difficult for a company, especially a company like Razer, that's able to put out a lot of different products, quite advanced products, to put out a watch that works, and they've done that. The watch works just fine. It's built really nicely. It's definitely along the lines of the Casio G-Shock. It looks stylish to me. It fits nicely on my wrist. It's comfortable. The strap is very good quality rubber. And even if I've worn it overnight, I mean, I tend to sometimes fall asleep with the watch on. And I've done that a few times, and obviously the watch does have a feature where, obviously, when it syncs with the Nabu software, that it can actually track how much you're sleeping as well. So that's pretty cool on its own as well. So it does all of these things wonderfully. So the physical side of the watch, the obviously the aesthetic of it, you either like the Razer aesthetic or you don't. And my opinion is that it's really nice looking. I do like the products that Razer puts out, and this watch is really no exception. So if you're a Razer fan, then you'll know what to expect in terms of design. The build quality is fantastic as well. It is solid. It really feels nice on the wrist as well. So that's the first thing. So it's comfortable. I've worn it every day, and I've worn it, like I said, to bed as well, and I've not found any discomfort. I've not had any reactions like to my wrist, like from using like a cheap strap, cheap material or whatever. I've not had any of those issues, which is really good for me, and so that's obviously important. Now, getting on to its the rest of the build quality. Funnily enough, in the 2 weeks that I've had it, and like I said, I've been wearing it every day. I've not been treating it with kid gloves. I have actually managed to uh, put a slight mark on the watch, which is really frustrating because what happens is, a couple of times, you guys will know what I'm talking about, when you're maybe carrying something, carrying a large item like a large box or something through a doorway, and because the watch is quite chunky in its design, it's very G-Shock like. The watch has gotten caught on a door frame, and I've done it a couple of times, and it just happens. Like, if you're carrying something, you go through, bam, it scrapes against the wall or the door frame. And actually, considering I've done it a couple of times, the only time it's managed to mark is once. And the annoying thing is, it's actually marked right near the Razer logo. And I don't know if my webcam is going to be able to pick it up, but just to the left, there's like a white kind of fleck, very small white fleck. And that's unfortunate considering how little time I've had the watch. But I wouldn't say that it's, if anything, it actually shows off how good the build quality is. That even though I have not looked after it as well as I should have done, the damage that I've done to it is really negligible. I mean, you've got to really look at it closely to be able to see it. So build quality is fantastic. Moving on to the watch display. Now, I want to talk about the actual the actual time part of the watch there. Now, it's really nice. However, I would have liked it to have been a bit more vibrant. Now, it, it, the backlight is really good as well. So if in the dark, you can put the backlight on, and the watch display lights up really well. My kind of issue with the display though is sometimes when it does get slightly darker, it does become difficult to see, and I wish that you could set how long you could have the backlight on of the watch on. So, it would be nice if that was adjustable. So, for example, I just find that it doesn't stay on long enough. So, if you're trying to cycle through the modes of the watch, so for example, if you're going through the stopwatch or the alarms or the countdown time or the world time or whatever, you don't have enough time to cycle through all the options, and the backlight will turn off. Now, when you're out at night, the display, sometimes you just can't see it unless you put the backlight on. It'll just look like the watch is switched off. You literally won't be able to see the time, which is kind of bad for a watch, isn't it? But as soon as you press the backlight button, obviously the display is vibrant, it's nice, it's the nice color of green, and you can see what you're doing. But like I said, my only bugbear is the backlight doesn't stay on for as long as I would like. And the other thing that probably makes me think that the main watch display is a bit lackluster is that the actual OLED info display, like the Nabu display, is so bright because it uses like an OLED screen. It's so bright and so vivid. I really wish they could have made the whole watch like that, and it could switch off when you're not looking at when you're not using it, and then just like it wakes up when you move your wrist, because the watch has like a sensor in it where if you move your wrist a certain way, I guess the OLED display pops up. So you can either set it to for the OLED display to switch on by pressing that button there, or you can set it that it just wakes up automatically when you move your wrist. Now, I would have loved for them to have made the whole watch OLED and then it do that to save battery, but it's not to be, and I think it's just a shame because the OLED display is so vibrant and vivid. It makes the rest of the watch display, like the time and the alarm notification and all that kind of stuff, it makes the rest of the watch look a little bit dull in comparison, which is a bit of a shame. You don't want the watch display to look dull, but when you've got the OLED on, you can see how bright and green that is. I mean, you can see I've got like some notifications that I need to look at, but you just look at how bright those are. Those are amazing, and compared to the actual watch display, and I think that's something that has bothered me a little bit. But obviously they must have had their reasons as to why it's not all OLED. Cost probably would have been one of them. The buttons have held up really well. Obviously, it's only been a couple of weeks, but like I said, I've used the watch a lot. The buttons look like they're really firm. They're really decent. They're not going to cause any issues. Now, moving on, the next thing I would like to talk about is the battery life of the OLED display. It's really good, actually. I've only had to put the watch on charge a couple of times, I think. And that's been, I've been messing around with it obviously a lot because it's my new watch, so I have been playing with it a lot and messing around with the display brightness, etc., because you can adjust how bright the OLED display is. And I've only had to charge it a couple of times, and to charge it, you do get this really awesome magnetic cable, and that part there just clips onto the back, and it does tell you what if the battery does get low on the OLED display, it does tell you how many percent. So you can see I've actually currently got 65% battery life. It's 65. I've actually got 65%. It says of the battery life of the OLED display. Now, bear in mind the OLED display battery is separate from the watch battery. The watch battery, Razer reckons you're going to have last you for about a year before you need to change it, and it's like a 2032. And then this OLED display battery, I think, is separate. Like the way it charges is it uses two separate ones. So you're always going to be able to tell the time at least, even if you can't access the OLED display, say if you forget to charge it over a long period of time. However, I've not had that issue, which is really good. So it lasts nicely, and I've not, it charges very quickly. It's pretty quick at getting it back up to a decent amount. So you don't really have to worry, because I was a little bit concerned with it being a watch that relies on like charging. It's a bit frustrating because I'm used to just wearing a watch and then forgetting about it, not having to worry about charging it. So that's nice to know that the battery does last quite well. Now, another thing that I want to talk to you guys about is it's how it works with the Nabu software on the phone, and how it stays synced to it. Now, it uses Bluetooth, like BLE. I'm not sure what that stands for. I think it's some kind of like a Bluetooth light or something. So it's meant to do it's meant to use like low power. It's like a low power version of Bluetooth. Now, most of the time, the watch will stay connected to my phone. If I've got the phone and watch on me, it's always going to be connected. I've not had any connectivity issues between the watch and the phone. So to use the Nabu kind of features, I've not had to worry about that at all in the slightest. By the way, guys, I've just had a look at the chat. Hello to everyone that's in there: Ian Johnson, Matthew Moore, and the Shen9 Jens and Nahul. It's thanks for popping in, guys. Really appreciate you watching this live. Yeah, so I've not had any disconnection issues. What I'll do, guys, is if you've got any questions, I'll answer them as soon as I get to the end of what I want to say, because otherwise I'll lose my train of thought. And so I wanted to get my kind of review out, my blah out, and then I'll answer all the questions that you guys have quite happily. Now, like I said, the Bluetooth connection with the app is pretty good. I've not had any issues. However, there's been the odd occasion where I've left my phone downstairs, or I've left it upstairs and I've come downstairs, and the Bluetooth has disconnected. It's meant to have around a 10-meter radius from the research I've done, like a 10-meter range, not radius, a 10-meter range. And I think that it's kind of it's not quite there. It just disconnects a little bit too easily, because sometimes I can be downstairs and my phone upstairs and it will still remain connected, but sometimes it won't. So it's a little bit inconsistent. That's just how I found it. But whilst you've got your phone on you, the watch it will stay connected. It's a solid connection. It synchronizes frequently and it synchronizes successfully. You can actually see my day's stats. So it tells you that I've so far done 8,000 steps out of my 10,000 step target. I've walked 3.7 miles out of my 5-mile target. It's got a calorie count target there where apparently I've burnt 2,700 calories. And I've been active for 21 minutes, like physically active according to the watch, and I've had 5 hours 20 minutes of sleep. So it does that pretty well. It tracks all that stuff nicely, and it works well with the app, and the app does give you a fair amount of control over what you can do with the watch. But like I said, there's a couple of things. The backlight timer, I can't get it to. When I talk about the backlight timer, it's the watch backlight timer. I can't find a way of adjusting that, which is a bit annoying. Another tiny little niggle that I found was when I first got the watch, I found it difficult to change the hour format. I like to have my watches on a 24-hour format, not a 12-hour format. But the only way I got it to actually work is because you have to do it through the app on the phone, so you have to change it from 12 to 24 hours on the phone. Now, if you just changed the format, it didn't change it on the watch. However, if you went into manual time settings rather than syncing the time with the phone and then change it to 24 hours, it then changes it. And then after that, you can go back and set the app to sync the time with the phone rather than manually. So you have to kind of go into manual, change it to 24 hours, and then go back. So those are a couple of minor things, but as it stands, like I said, it's really a good product. For the money you pay, it's kind of Casio G-Shock money. The build quality is at least as good as that. Like I said, I've not treated it very gently, and I've managed to really knock it against door frames and walls a couple of times, which I'm a bit upset about. And the worst it does is brings out a very tiny white fleck, which you'll only see if you really look for it. And I think that's actually pretty damn good, as it goes. So overall, my opinions of the watch are that it is great. It's what I'd expect. It's comfortable. It's just really decent. My only slight concern, like I said, or my only slight negative, really is that the watch display, it just doesn't look vibrant when you've got the OLED underneath the Nabu screen. So it kind of makes it look a bit dull in actual fact. So that's really my review of the watch. It's definitely a worthwhile watch to own, especially if you're a fan of Razer watches. Then definitely, I would recommend. So if you're a fan of Razer products, then definitely I would recommend for you to go and get it if you can afford to, because I don't think you'll be disappointed. I think it's a really, really decent bit of kit. I mean, I suppose as ideas go, I like I said, I would have loved for the whole watch to have been OLED, and then maybe it could switch off or just display like a Razer logo on there, and then when you look up at it, it could then go into bling mode and show the time and everything in a really bright OLED display. But I suppose that would be kind of more expensive and probably too much of a drain on battery. So that's kind of my review of it, guys. I hope you found it useful. If you have any questions, then please let me know in the chat. I know there's there's a couple of you guys in here, so if you do have any questions, let me know. If not, then what I'll do is I'll end the live stream, and obviously that will be it. And I thank everyone that's actually popped in to actually watch the stream, and to watch my review of the Razer Nabu Forged Edition. So I can't see anyone saying anything really. I think that's it. That's fine. Yeah, no worries. Well, Ian Johnson says thanks. Thank you very much for popping in. Really, thanks for popping in, watching the review. Anyway, guys, I think what I'll do is I'll call it quits. If you have any questions that come to mind later, or if you obviously watch this video afterwards, after it stops streaming live, then please leave your questions and comments in the comment section, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you disliked the video and the review, give it a thumbs down, and obviously I'll catch you in the next video. And thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. Um, Actually, I've just had a question there from Matthew Moore. Sorry. How do you like the notifications? Actually, that's a really good question, Matthew. Like, I've got to say, one of the things I found amazing about this is when I was driving. I'm one of like a lot of people, when your phone makes a noise and you get an email or you get a missed call, or anything like that, it's so dangerous to look down at your phone. But like a lot of people, everyone has the habit of just glancing down at your phone or picking it up and looking at it in traffic, and it's so dangerous to do that. And I really try never to do that, and now I don't have to, because when I'm driving, I've got to say, it's so useful, because not only you can pretty much get it to display the information that you find useful. So if you get a text message, or you get a WhatsApp message, or you get an email, or you get like an app notification, so for example you get an eBay sale or anything. Oh, there's a delay, man. Yeah, I cancelled it. I didn't realize. Thank you for that. But yeah, it's really, really useful. It's a lot more useful than I thought it would be. It's a hell of a lot more useful than I thought it would be. It just makes it just so when you're driving and your left hand, I have my watch on my left wrist. I'm driving it, and it just pops up. It vibrates as well. Obviously, the watch vibrates to let you know, and you can just glance, and it doesn't affect you. You're safe. So I find that really useful. And when the Bluetooth disconnects, does it reconnect? Yes, it does reconnect. It does. It just it sometimes can, as soon as you're back in range, it will be within a few seconds. So there's no issue with that. That's why I kind of mentioned it as a side thing. I wouldn't want to kind of give the impression that the Bluetooth is flaky, because it's not flaky at all. It's really solid, and most of the time you're going to have your phone on you anyway, and it'll work fine. But if you do forget and walk out of the room, when you walk back in, it won't be too long before it reconnects. You won't have any issues with that. I certainly haven't done. So thanks for those questions. Does it print out the text message, or just that you have one? It does actually print out the text message. If it's a long message, it obviously won't read out the whole thing. But it will tell you the contents of the message. And you can adjust also the speed at which the display scrolls. I could probably show you something on here. Let me just see if I've got anything that's okay to show you, or I can actually tell it to send me one now, which is pretty cool. If I go to my devices, go watch, okay, notifications, test notification. Okay, I'm going to just send a test notification, and let's have a look. Send a text notification. There we go. So I've just sent a text notification, and it says you've received a test message from Nabu. So you can just see that. I'll just send it again in case you didn't get it. So you can see there the notification is going to appear in a second. Or if I show you. Okay, well that was a message from Nabu. There you go. So if I send one, I'll send another one. And you can adjust, like I said, you can adjust it, and it vibrates to let you know. And then you get like, this is a test message from Nabu. And you can adjust the scroll speed as well. So when you're scrolling fast or slow, you've got 3 different settings. So slow, fast, slow, medium, and fast. I find medium, the default setting is just right. Fast is way too quick, and slow is just like, it's just the different settings are that you have are I think the default one works the best. And thanks, Mike. Thanks, Matthew. I really appreciate the comment. That you've been waiting to give someone to give this much information. You love the look. Thanks for taking that. Really appreciate you watching, Matthew. Really do. Thank you very much. I think on that note, I will call it a day, because it's gone over 20 minutes now for the review. So hopefully it's going to be useful for other people popping in and watching it. And really appreciate it. Anyway, thanks very much. If you liked it, obviously thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down, and I'll catch you next time. Thank you for watching, guys.